So, Penelope says about 20 minutes later. About what you said regarding getting up and talking to other people? But you're just so comfy, though. I whine. Okay, so maybe my resolution towards productivity and self-control isn't quite so easily achieved as simply deciding that I'm going to do it. But Penelope is very warm, and she's very squeezable, and I love having something for my tendrils to hold, and she's just... Gah. Why would any sane Vita willingly leave? I've done all I can do for your extra eyes at this point, Penelope chuckles. And as fun as this is, I do have things to do and places to be. Sorry, Vita. Wait, you've done all you can for my eyes? They're all still here, though. Vita, do you really think I can remove entire organs from your body in less than an hour? She chides. This is going to take days, possibly weeks of work. I go a little stiff at that. That's not good. The rate I'm growing them is accelerating, though, I tell her. I grew my shoulder tentacle today. Is that so? Penelope muses. Well, in that case, come find me the next time you feel something start to grow. Maybe I can figure out a way to stop it. Or perhaps I can figure out a way to make bodily modifications that quickly as well. I snort, sensing she's a lot more excited about the second prospect than the first. Oh, well. One does not date a scientist without expecting to have a lot of experimental science done to their body. I knew this would happen when I agreed to this relationship. Though speaking of, it's still vaguely weird to be in a relationship. I got a lot more used to the idea of Penelope as my girlfriend while I was incarcerated, and though I certainly worried that wouldn't be the case by the time I got out, I'm thankful to find that my fears were for naught. I still don't really know what being my girlfriend means, though, at least not beyond the fact that I can request and receive cuddles without my whole body entering instant fight or flight mode on contact. Except I can also do that with Lynn, and she's very much not my girlfriend. Like, according to my extremely limited understanding of relationships, a girlfriend is just a female friend you either have sex with or intend to have sex with in the future. But we don't do that. Nor will we. So is she just my favorite friend? No, wait, that's best friend. Besides, she's more than a friend. Nora is a friend. Penta is a friend. Penelope is definitely something else entirely. She's more like family? Is that what it means? Not very helpful. If so, I don't exactly understand the concept of family that much better. Whatever. Words and definitions aside, I still need to stop cuddling her and go do other important things. After another 5 minutes, Penelope stands up of her own accord and, despite my protests, carries me out of the tent before plopping me down on my feet. All right, time to get things done, she cruelly orders. I'm going to go speak with Jeremiah like you suggested. So you should? I should probably start with my backup mum. I regretfully admit. Then Penta. Then I'll wing it. Child, did you just call us backup mum? Altrix snaps at me from the other side of the clearing, though given her response I guess she's definitely Sano. I wince, not having thought she would have heard that. I intended it as a term of endearment. I shout back honestly. We were your first mum. She reminds me. Your current mom is the backup. I guess that makes sense. I admit, walking away from my now laughing girlfriend to approach Sano. I just meant that you were next in line to be primary mom if something happens to Lynn. Not that I'm planning on anything bad ever happening to Lynn, but it's always important to have backup plans. People die. Don't give us ideas, Sano grumbles, walking into physical view. She's not being serious, of course, so I don't have to kill her. We're glad you're finally back, Vita. You're horribly filthy, though. We'll find someone to heat up a bath for you. I don't know if I really have time. I hedge. You will make time, Sano insists. You made time to snog a noble woman, you can certainly make time to ensure you don't ruin her outfit when next you do it. I look down at myself, then glance back at the retreating form of Penelope. I guess I am pretty muddy. I'm glad she's not the kind of prim and proper person to care much about that, though I suppose a big part of her apathy comes from being safe in the knowledge that she has a very effective cleaning spell, and also other people to do her chores for her. Either way, Penelope doesn't have a problem with it, I insist. Why should I? Watch his eyes, it's like you're still 5 years old, Sano grumbles. You are in charge here, Vita. You need to look the part. I do? I ask, not seeing the connection there. Why do I need to look a certain way to be in charge? And how is covered in monster blood not that way? Sano sighs. People will like you more if you're clean, Vita. I don't care if most of these people like me, I argue. I just want them to listen to me. And they're more likely to listen to you if they like you, Sano counters patiently. Have you not noticed that? I scowl a little. I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I don't see how that translates to taking a bath. I guess baths aren't that bad, but out here in the forest privacy is enforced less by walls and more by threat of death. I don't really feel like dealing with that. We've noticed you latch onto a few people that catch your interest to establish mutual respect with, Sano continues, but for most people you just intimidate them into obedience, ignoring everything else. Humans are more complicated than a series of threats and consequences, Vita. Yeah, that's for damn sure. I wish they weren't, I complain. I'm not really much of a bather, but fine. If that's what'll make you happy, I'll oblige. As usual, Sano does something unexpected. Rather than be happy I agreed to her demands, she just gives me an odd look. Do you even remember how to bathe yourself properly, Vita? What? I snapped defensively. Of course I know how to bathe myself. What kind of question is that? You don't, do you? Sano continues, ignoring me. We will help you. Go talk to your slime friend while we get things set up. Okay? I answer, getting an instinctive impression that saying no would be a bad idea. I don't really want to be taught something I already know how to do, but I suspect that going along with it will be a lot less annoying than trying to stop it, and I've been meaning to spend more one-on-one time with Altrix anyway. Speaking of my slime friend, I find her dozing on a rock near Margaret's still unfinished teleportation circle. I don't really want to interrogate her about whatever terrible revenge Penelope no doubt concocted, but it was probably a bit unnecessarily mean to leave her with Penelope in the first place. I give her a friendly jiggle by poking her with a finger, to which she responds by trying to suck up and dissolve said finger in her pre-lucid waking moments. Penta quickly notices what she's doing, however, and transfers the parts of her body trying to eat me for breakfast towards the much more productive task of quickly pulling herself up my hand, then my arm, and finally swimming all the way up to my shoulder. Moments later, her slimy body is reshaping itself into the humanoid form she crafted for herself the day I left. Well, look who's back, Penta comments dryly. You get that dragon? Nah, I shrug slightly, jiggling her entire body. Turns out that dragons are cowards and they all ran away from me. She makes a dismissive scoffing noise, though considering the fact that she's tiny enough for me to hold in my hands it comes off as more adorable than anything. Shame, that, she says. Though I suppose I can certainly empathize with anyone who finds you terrifying. I wince. Speaking of terrifying, how did your chat with Penelope go? She shapes her face into a flat glare. You know damn well it wasn't a chat, Vita, she accuses. How do you think it went? She puppeted me around for a while, tested out a few animancy torture methods, which is a thing that she has, apparently, then left in a huff. At least it only took a few hours. I'm even mostly sure she even undid everything she did to me, which was a pleasant surprise. What did she do? I ask hesitantly. I'd rather not talk about it, Penta answers firmly. Suffice to say it was appropriately ironic. Exactly the sort of thing I'd expect from her. I'd hoped that would be the end of it, but it sure didn't seem to make her feel any better when she was done. Oh, I answer, my tentacles drooping a bit. Well, did she at least leave you alone after that? Yes, Penta acknowledges. If anything, she's been weirdly polite. Huh, I say. I wonder why. Couldn't say, Penta grunts. I don't know what either of you are thinking anymore. It's odd. Well, you did miss out on a couple years, I remind her, to which I interpret her resulting indignation as a resounding I know. I cough awkwardly and continue. But, other than that, how have things been? How's having your own body treating you? It's strange, she sighs. I've been trying to increase my biomass but it's slow going. Oozoids don't seem to be very efficient digesters. More importantly, well, it's frightening, I suppose. Oh? I ask. I just figured your fear was of me. That too, she admits. But in general, I have a constant fear of being alone. In my own head, I mean. Throughout most of my life, feeling this way meant I was only a short time away from personality death. It's funny how the thing I wanted most, my own body, now causes me constant anxiety. I nod slowly. Constant anxiety due to the nature of one's existence? I can understand that. Maybe you'll get over it? I suggest. It's not like you're very old. You've been both conscious and sapient for less than a month, I think. Penta's body loses a bit of cohesion for a moment as she reels from that thought. Oh Watcher, you're right, she realizes. I was Penelope for, what, a few days. Then the trip to Lithia was only. Holy shit. I'm a month old. I mean, plus the uncountable amount of time I was a fucking burrow hound, I suppose. Damn. The burrow hounds. That feels like a lifetime ago. It literally was, Penta remarks. I just got brought back to life, because I happened to become friends with a baby goddess. Hey. What do you mean a baby goddess? I protest. Well, you don't even have your first cult yet, do you? Penta sardonically remarks. You're not really an adult goddess until you have at least one cult. I don't even want a cult. I complain. Well, no one wants to pay taxes when they grow up either, but at some point you're just going to have to leave the nest. I groan with exasperation as she chuckles at me, a disturbingly exact copy of Penelope's classic demure giggle. Ugh, this is the moment, I guess. I gotta say it now or I never will. I'm sorry I left you with Penelope like that, I manage. I was mad about what you said regarding Vitamin and I, but I still shouldn't have just given her free rein, you know? Penta gives me a searching look, which considering her body is a very purposeful decision. It seems a little pointless to me since she knows I barely pay attention to faces and read emotions from her soul anyway, but it is what it is. You probably shouldn't have, she agrees. It wasn't exactly a fun way to come back to life. Still, it's not like I don't deserve it. I never wanted to torture Penelope in the way she tortured me, but I still did it. She seems to have gotten her pound of flesh now, so that's that. Now I'm just worried for her. Penelope is both more and less broken of a person than she thinks she is, if that makes any sense. Not really, I admit. She barks out a dry laugh. Yeah, I guess I expected that response. You excuse me. I hear Altrix call out. Or, fuck, it's a different one. Nix, I think her name is? The bath is ready. Velp, I guess I need to take care of that, I sigh. You wanna come with, Penta? To a bath? Ugh, wouldn't that be nostalgic? But no, unfortunately, there's no real point. Large bodies of water could kill me if I lose cohesion, and I'm self-cleaning anyway. Self-cleaning, huh? 1 point for the oozed body column, I guess. I stretch my hand out towards the rock Penta had been dozing on when I found her, and she quickly twists down my arm to plop down on it. I'm going to try to revive some humans in a bit, I tell her. Can I count on you to help? Not sure how much help you expect from me, but I'll be there, she agrees. I nod, turning to approach Nix. I hope she assembled something suitably private. Public bathing is the default in Vulca, and I've gone to public baths plenty of times. Still, I'm never excited about the prospect of being naked for any reason, let alone with other people around. I'm not modest, just paranoid. Even now that my bones can survive explosions and my muscles can rip a man in half, I can't get over the discomfort of exposing weakness. Bad things happen to street kids that caught the wrong person's eye. More clothing was always better than less. Thankfully, construction seems to have progressed quickly while I was away, to Kill from Above still directing groups in the creation of small wooden cabins. After meeting up with Altrix, Nix, she's Nix right now, she takes me into one of them. It's pretty much just a small shed with a barrel full of water in it, but the water is hot and the room is private, so all things considered I'm pretty happy with it. I start to strip down, tossing my things in the corner of the room until Nix starts stuttering in protest. If you could give us those, we'll have them washed as well. She stammers. I shrug, tossing them her way. My outfit isn't important enough to worry about, it's not even real armor. As long as I get something to wear back before I'm done bathing, I don't care what it is. Oh okay, so, here's the soap, Nix says, holding it out to me. know how to use soap, right? Pretty sure step 1 is not eating it, which was always disappointing, I answer dryly, accepting the stuff. Is this all a plot to do mother-daughter things with me? Nyx squeaks with embarrassment, bringing her hands up to her face. It's not really a plot, she answers. We're not even used to having a daughter. It's nice in some ways. I'm not really sure how to respond to that, so I don't. The bath is fine. Predictably, my self-care skills don't live up to Altrix's standards, and I get taught a lot about the proper way to use soap. I humor her, seeing no reason not to, and I have to admit that I end up feeling squeaky clean afterwards, which is a very strange experience. I literally haven't taken more than a shitty sponge bath in 2 years. Afterwards, I even get some new clothes. Even better, I get armor. My new outfit is a cool black segmented gambesine, designed with joints and multiple layers in mind so that when Nora turns the outer layer rigid I can still have padding to help me absorb heavy blows. I look a bit puffy, I guess? But it's very practical and exactly what I need, so who cares? The dumbest looking parts of the outfit are covered by my new cloak anyway. Thanks, Nyx. I say, happily noting how well it fits me. A little bit tight, but overall it's almost perfect. This is pretty great, actually. Oh. You're welcome. Nyx answers. I believe Margaret's friend Nuga's made it? It was teleported over a few days ago. I pause. That would explain the fit. Yeah. Did she use her own measurements for this? Oh well, it's hardly the weirdest thing in my life. Is the teleporter working? I ask, deciding to focus on that instead. Well enough for non-living objects, yes. Nyx answers. Only a small chance of material loss. Material loss sounds like it'd be bad for living objects, I agree offhandedly. Pretty bad, yes. I nod understandingly. There are a lot of important body parts, I think. Either way, now that I'm dressed for success, it's finally time to bring my sister back to life. You know, probably. I assume Melissa has gotten her mass back while I've been away. Sure enough, when I finally spot her I see she's about the same size she was before we started cutting bits off of her and putting slime souls in them. Which is probably good. She's currently chatting with Penta, who slithered over there to wait for me, presumably. Hey, Melissa. I greet, waving at her. How are you doing? Vita. The girl chirps, half running and half flowing towards me at my words. She moves right up next to me, seems to hesitate, and squirms slightly before asking me a question. See, can I try to hug you? She asks. I think I can do it. That's actually a tough question. I want to say yes, while Melissa would and absolutely has hurt many flies, she certainly wouldn't intentionally hurt me. And damn does this girl need hugs. But at the same time, if she makes a mistake and gets caustic goop on my new gift clothing, that'd be kinda sad. Oh, wait, I know. Nora. I call out, raising my hand towards the sky. My scythe dutifully spins through the air, flying rapidly towards me and landing in my grip. Without needing to tell her, I feel Nora's talent cover my clothes, protecting them from harm. Hug away. I tell Melissa, opening my arms and accepting the small, gooey mass of girl-child flopping her body into them. She erupts into a gleeful set of giggling as her body retains its form, not even attempting to burn my clothing. Hey, you're really doing it. I praise her, patting the back of her head. Awesome job. Yeah. She agrees, giving me a tighter squeeze for a moment before stepping away. Miss Penta is really smart and good at things. She helped a lot. I didn't help that much, Penta protests. Anyway, I'm healing way better and remembering things really good, just like you said I would. Melissa cheers. Thank you, Ms. Vita. If you need any more bits of me, I'm ready for it. I do, actually. I confirm. This next soul is really, really important to me. It's my little sister Angeline. She's about your age, actually. Not counting all the years she can't remember experiencing, anyway, for both of them, I guess. Oh wow. Is this a human soul? She asks. She'll be like me? Exactly like you. I agree. So everything should go just fine. Are you ready? Yes. She chirps, bravely holding out her arm. I triple-check to make sure Nora's Vrithitso tooth edge isn't currently active. We don't want to be cutting soul bits. Here, the Oozoid has its own natural process for that, and lop off exactly enough to make a new baby goo girl. Just add soul. Which is, of course, what I do, pulling out Angeline's soul and nestling it carefully into the new body. She's gonna be back. She's gonna wake up. I'm super excited. I probably shouldn't be, I guess. It'll likely take her a few days to interpret her new senses and learn to understand language with her new body and stuff like that, but still. She's alive. She's alive. And almost immediately, she starts silently screaming in panic. Angeline's new liquid body starts moving erratically, her soul struggling to identify her new experiences as anything other than a nightmare. An all-consuming confusion grips her as she tries to move limbs that aren't there, breathe without lungs, and open non-existent eyes in a vain attempt to wake from what she must not believe is real. I freeze, not sure how to react to her sudden, existential agony. Is there something wrong? No, I don't think there are any problems with her body or soul. She just doesn't know how to handle suddenly being a noose. She, doesn't look so hot, Penta says hesitantly. I don't answer. I don't know how to answer. My sister writhes on the ground. Vita? Penta presses. Hey, Vita, she is having a bad time there. Vita? Will she be okay if we wait? Will she figure things out? How long will it take? Minutes? Hours? Days? How much torture is an acceptable trade-off to reincarnation? Vita. Penta shouts. Hey, answer me. What should we do? I don't know. I snap back. You tell me. I don't want to kill her again. So you want to leave her like this? I don't know. I feel my sister's soul start to cry, begging for help from anything that will listen. Is being a noose really this bad? I ask Penta. Maybe. She hedges. I was born a noose. My senses as an oozoid are better than my original body. But I guess she has no experience with that? It feels like being stuck in a dream, Melissa says softly. I remember that. It was bad. It was scary. For a long time. Just take her out, Penta says. That would kill Angeline, I remind her. It would return Angeline to the way she's been for the past 2 years, Penta says. Revival is possible. We already proved that. The only question is how, and there has to be a better way than this. Damn it, I hiss. Damn it. I reach into her and, moments after bringing her back, I kill Angeline again. Training starts in an hour, so I rise from torpor and make my way to the courtyard, bringing along my armor but not yet putting it on. It's still nighttime, the island overhead blotting out the light of the sky, but I have never and still don't possess any issue seeing clearly regardless. Of course, not every human is asleep at this time of night, especially not in the barracks, but I still thankfully don't run into anyone before I can get down on my hands and feet in the courtyard and start thrumming my quills as hard as I can. What little light there is in the courtyard all funnels itself into my quills, the temperature in the area rapidly dropping to match. I don't need to come to the courtyard to do this, but it's the only place large enough and outdoors enough in the barracks to both not cause me to accidentally blind someone and not freeze the inside of a building. It's just less of a hassle for everyone if I do this outside. As usual, I question why I'm doing it at all. I know the answer, of course. It feels great, and Lady Vesuvius told me that my frenzy was likely just as much of a general stress response as it was a survival instinct. I should, she says, be purposefully trying to relax and make myself more comfortable where possible. It feels like a disgusting perversion of justice to sit here and do something I find enjoyable after everything I did. I nearly killed my own captain. Why am I still a trainee at all? I should be put down like the rabid animal I am. But that's not my fate, I guess. After only a day I was back to my usual routine, everything about my training the same as before I lost control, barring the absence of Gina in our classes. Gina, of all people, got punished for this while I did not. She broke the law, while I did what I did under extreme duress and in legitimately perceived self-defense, and my supposedly future captain, the real victim in all of this, has declined to press charges. But that doesn't change anything. I still lost control. I still ate human flesh. I still almost killed people. I am at fault. I should be punished. I don't understand. Predictably, understanding doesn't come before people do, and I'm forced to stop soaking my body in stolan warmth as more and more future and current Templars start to wake up around the base. I'm in the middle of putting my armor on in preparation for combat class when my fellow trainees arrive, Melik's hateful glare contrasting Xavier and Bentley's warm greetings as usual. Today is the 5th day since that awful incident, and routine has been both my escape and a grating reminder of how much I don't deserve to be here. I finish putting on my armor and getting into formation shortly before the instructor arrives, right at dayfall. We perform our usual stretches, go for our usual run, do our usual drills, entirely as expected. The only difference is how I've stopped holding back. I no longer try to keep pace with my fellow trainees, freely lapping them multiple times as I complete the tasks. The instructor responded to this by significantly increasing the distance I'm supposed to travel compared to everyone else, but I don't care. I don't even know if my body benefits from these exercises the way human bodies do, but I still don't care. It's useful nonetheless, since laps naturally involve turning. I can get a feel for how quickly I can accelerate, decelerate, and change direction while in my armor. I have far less traction wearing chitin boots than I do with my talons, since I can't dig anything into the ground for better grip. It feels awkward, slippery, and slow. It's another thing to practice, doing it over and over in a different way each time until I have the movements perfectly optimized. It keeps my mind off of things. We're sparring today, the instructor barks. Sword and board. You can cast and use talents only if you can do it while you have your weapons in hand. I'm pairing you off, Xavier and Harvey, Melik and Lark, Bentley and myself. Begin. I resist the urge to sigh. The instructor hasn't had me spar with Melik or Gina since the incident, but I suppose this was inevitable. At least with our helmets on, I don't have to look at his furious glower the entire time I beat him into the ground. I don't really see the point of including me in the spars. The goal of these things, which I finally got explained properly to me, is much like the game of tag, as I thought. Rather than predator fleeing practice, however, it's live combat practice. There are some basic rules to ensure no one takes permanent damage from it, but otherwise it's open enough to give us legitimate experience in real fights, which I can't deny is the best way to learn. Assuming, of course, there is anything to learn. I feel like I'd be more helpful to my team if I fought them in my capacity as a Vrithitso, utilizing my speed and strength in a straightforward way so that they can learn to fight my physically superior brethren using prediction, preparation, and cunning. Baiting my kind into traps is relatively easy, and in my experience it's the best, and often only, way to kill a physically superior foe. And when my wounds pushed me to frenzy against Fulvia, when I tried to devour Captain Yelisaveta, that is how I fought. It's all I was. A raging animal. My teammates need to know how to put me down when I'm like that. They have to. If it ever happens again, I want them to kill me. But that's not the purpose of a spar. I'm expected to fight as a Templar, not an animal. I am judged on my ability to take down my opponent as quickly and efficiently as possible. Which means that, the moment Melik takes his first step in my attack range, I move forward and smash the flat of my blade into his foot before it can touch the ground again. He starts to topple over, leaving him the option of either collapsing to the ground or hopping slightly to reorient his balance. He makes the mistake of choosing to hop, putting his entire body in the air for a split second and making it trivial to snatch up both of his legs with a kick and make his trip to the ground that much more painful. He strikes out with his sword in midair, but I deflect it with my shield as he crashes down, my own sword coming to rest on his neck. This is normally where a spar would end, but Melik ignores the implied warning and tries to move. We're only using blunted training swords, so to teach him what sword to the neck means I jab mine into his windpipe, hard. He immediately starts to choke, which is finally enough to get him to stop fighting back. I step away in case I hit his throat hard enough to warrant biomantic intervention. It's a little hard to tell with humans what is and isn't a life-threatening bout of choking. The biomancer on standby does indeed quickly run up to treat him, but declares he has a clean bill of health once he catches his breath. Okay, good. I was fairly sure that level of force wouldn't crush his windpipe, but it's comforting to know for sure. Lark. The instructor barks at me, looking up from where he is rhythmically blocking strike after unrelenting strike from Bentley. No more blows to the throat. Melik, when someone has a sword on your throat, the spar is over. You lose. Understand? Sir. Melik and I both confirm, and the instructor returns his focus to Bentley. We turn back to each other. I don't have any fucking clue what I'm supposed to learn here, other than don't fight a monster one-on-one, Melik hisses. Well, that's a good thing to learn, I answer plainly. In a fair fight, I'm always going to beat you. Fuck you, Lark, Melik snaps. Language, I respond automatically. And my point isn't to establish dominance here, it's to suggest that you should stop fighting fair. Use your metamancy stuff. Turn the battlefield to your advantage. By the time I make a single glyph, you'll already have one, Melik points out. True, I admit, eliciting an annoyed grunt. I don't know why he's so mad about things he said in the first place. Let's assume you prepared this area in advance. In that case, I'll stay put until you're ready. You're fast enough to avoid my glyphs by running directly over them, he dismisses. It'd be a waste of time. Place them in spots I can't bypass, then, I suggest. Or design them to activate preemptively. Or put them on your body so they retaliate when I strike you. Or fill them with non-offensive effects that limit my movement. Or, okay, shut up, Melik snaps. Give me a moment. I nod and wait, letting Melik pull his metal dust out of the vial he carries it and to start shifting it into spell alignments. I watch carefully, making sure to get a good view on every metal configuration he uses in case the knowledge turns out to be useful later. I still can't channel, which means I can't look at spells with mana sight to memorize them yet, but Melik's metal glyphs are at least visible. I'll get as much of a head start as I can. Of course, I'm also paying attention to where Melik puts each glyph, watching as various types are spread across the battlefield and others bloom to life on his armor. My senses can't tell one magical glyph apart from any other. I can kind of feel where they are, but they all seem more or less the same regardless of what they do. The only difference I can determine is probably in how much mana each glyph contains, and since they're all nearly identical in this regard, I assume they're all capped at the mana value Melik's metal collection can hold. I hear that Melik's casting technique turns a lot of heads. Shaping metal into glyphs that cast other, non-metal glyphs would be pointlessly redundant for anyone that didn't have Melik's talent. He apparently can use kineticism on metal and only metal, which is a bit oddly specific, but I suppose it's not much different from Xavier, whose talent lets him use kineticism exclusively on water. I glance over at him, watching my friend fight, and repeatedly lose, against Harvey, the latter of whom isn't even using his talent. Xavier's jerky, almost puppet-like movements indicate that he is using his talent, since he can move around the water inside his own body. It's apparently very difficult for him to do without simply ripping his cells and blood vessels open from the inside, so it's good that he's getting a better handle on it. Okay, I'm ready, Melik announces, returning most of my attention back to him. Our entire sparring area is now completely carpeted in glyphs, the spot I'm currently standing being the only exception. This means Melik himself is standing on glyphs, but they aren't activating. Are his glyphs manually activated? No, he would have put one immediately below my feet, in that case. So his glyphs just don't activate on him? Are they designed that way? Or, maybe one of the glyphs on his body prevents the glyphs he touches from activating. There are 2 glyphs on the bottom of his boots that weren't used anywhere else. Because, naturally, while I can't tell the glyphs apart with my senses, I watched him cast them all. So I know how many different types of glyphs there are as well as where each type of glyph is, even if I don't yet know what any of them do. I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's begin, then, I say, lowering myself into a defensive stance and deciding to test what he chooses to do if I simply refuse to move from my safe spot. Will he cast a projectile spell at me, or just make a glyph below me? He goes for the glyph, which is probably the better option. I respond by kicking a spray of dirt at him, hoping to disrupt his concentration and activate the glyphs in front of me with the projectile rather than my own body. Unfortunately, they ignore the dirt. What makes them activate? Do they detect living things? Pressure? I smell bugs nearby. Probably pressure, or at least living things above a certain size. That's tricky. I try to quickly smack my sword on the glyph in front of me to test this, and every single glyph surrounding me suddenly explodes. I jump high into the air to avoid the blast. Remote activation? Really? But that's the worst possible choice for dealing with my speed. It relies on Melik's own reflexes, which are much slower than my ability to move. By the time he tries to blow something up, I won't even be there anymore. I've aimed my jump towards where he's standing, though I had to take somewhat of a high arc to avoid the large blast radius of his glyphs. Wait a minute. Is that what he's going for? Forcing me into the air where I'm restricted by how fast I can fall? That normally wouldn't be effective because I could use my webs to yank myself around, but I'm wearing gauntlets and naturally don't have any web set up in the courtyard. Jumping was a bad move on my part, a habit ingrained from a kind of fighting I can't do right now. Annoying, so annoying. Melik shouldn't win using a trick that wouldn't normally work. Can't let him think I'm that easy to take down. He needs to be stronger. I twist my body as the runes below me activate in another wide grouping, my shield down and sword up, aiming to smash Melik while blocking whatever attack he is coming from below. To my surprise, however, the glyphs don't seem to strike me at all. Instead, their magic rapidly slows my fall, causing my swing to crest above Melik's head as I'm suspended in midair. Gotcha, freak, Melik declares triumphantly as I flail around, floating in midair. He points his shield at me, and I have no doubt the glyph attached to it is an offensive one. I guess in the context of the spar, you do, I admit. You win. Not bad. Melik seems annoyed, but he does lower his shield, not opting to attack after I've conceded. The instructor gets very angry whenever someone does that. The fuck does that mean? Melik demands. In the context of the spar? I have you dead to rights. If this was a real fight I'd break my gauntlets, I explain simply. But I'm supposed to stay in uniform for spars. Then what would you do? He asks. Throw them at me? I sigh, dropping my sword to the ground as I slowly rotate upside down in the kineticism field. Properly undoing the straps on that hand's gauntlet, I let it fall as well, then launch a thread from my hand onto Melik's chestplate. With a quick yank of my finger, the two of us are pulled towards each other, and my claws meet his neck as he stumbles. I would do this, I answer. You've seen me making things with my webs, you should know I have them. Nonetheless, he still seems surprised. Do humans not think about this stuff? So strange. Before he can respond to me, though, his glyphs abruptly deactivate, causing me to fall face first onto the ground. Well then I would do that, Melik counters smugly. Ow, I mumble into the dirt. I guess I deserved that. Why are you helping me? Melik asks as I brush off the front of my helmet. You know I hate you. I mean, yeah, you've made that pretty clear, I agree. But I don't hate you. I know why Gina and the captain aren't around anymore, Melik growls, and my memory answers him. I'm there again. The fist comes down and I'm done taking it without answering. I warned her. I told her. She isn't listening. She knows how dangerous I am. The loud one is louder than ever. Clearly she wants to return things to the way they were before. My teeth intercept her hand. Beautiful, delicious human blood pours onto my tongue. Yes. Yes. It's been too long. This is the flavor I need. This is my reason for life. Why do I keep eating rats all day when I could be feasting on nearly endless swaths of incredible, unparalleled living human meat? Because it's evil? Because it's wrong? It sure doesn't feel wrong. I watch Captain Yelisaveta throw the loud one off of me, and I want to laugh. Her tooth, then? I wonder how she'll taste. I wonder if she'll manage to kill me after all. I know you're nothing but a monster, deep down, Melik continues, and I barely hold back a laugh. So while the Templars might be dumb enough to trust you, if I ever see anything like that happen, I will take that chance to end you once and for all. I take off my helmet, shaking my hair to try and get all the dirt out of it before giving Melik a thankful grin. And that's why I'm helping you, I tell him gratefully. You get it. Now come on, that trick won't work on me if I'm frenzying. What do you have in terms of raw firepower? I feel as though I'm missing out on something for not being able to see his expression behind his helmet. Melik is truly speechless. I grin wider, and almost cry. You forgot, didn't you? Melik, like I told you before, if you think you can successfully kill me, actually kill me fast enough that I don't have time to hurt anyone? Do it. Please. No one able to is willing to. So hurry up and get strong enough. He stares at me as I put my helmet back on, pick my sword back up, and settle back into a combat stance. His next words hold an uncomfortable mixture of fear and disbelief. You really mean that, he realizes. Of course I mean that, I laugh. It's not funny, but I can no longer help it. Why do people keep thinking I say things I don't mean? I barely even knew what lying was before I learned it was a sin. Trust me, Melik, I get that I'm a walking disaster waiting to happen. I live that. So quit wasting time threatening me and start fighting me again, because I already know that if you had the power to put me down you would have done it by now. My body thrums with stress-filled energy, so I don't give him time to prepare the field after that. We simply spar over and over, and I beat him down over and over. Not trying to hurt him or anything, just trying to show him. Teach him what he needs. He starts to figure out the tricks, learning to predict rather than react, but a creeping dread sinks in as I watch myself adapt to him faster than he can do the same to me. By the time the instructor calls off our sparring matches, tears are welling up inside my helmet. He's too weak, and he grows too slowly. He probably won't ever be able to do it, and certainly not before the next time I inevitably lose control. I shouldn't have to live through having hurt people again. I already deserve to die. Why can't the world just do it already? I hate this. I hate everything. The horrible temptation inside me wants to find Galdra and murder everyone around her until she has no choice but to turn me to ash. Mostly because I just want to eat, and some part of me will think of every excuse imaginable to do so. I am truly tempted, this time. But it defeats the point of dying to prevent myself from hurting anyone if I hurt people in order to die. I want to scream. I want to kill. I want to curl up in a ball and never think about anything ever again. But I shove it all aside, trying to lose myself in duty and routine. Do what I'm told. Learn what I'm supposed to. Find what the Watcher made me for, so I can do it and be done already. Practice weaving in law class. Try not to burst into tears in ethics class. Continue attempting new ways to channel in magic class. To my horrified delight, I finally succeed in the last of those three. Because that's what I need right now, to have even more of a path to power. The instructor immediately stops me, telling me to hold the energy inside me as carefully as possible, and try to push it towards my fingers. Slowly, carefully, he guides me through the process, since the first time is the most important and most dangerous. I need to move the power in my body into my hands so I can perform the cancel command and safely get rid of it, but I struggle with that as well. Pushing the mana through my body feels sluggish and wrong, like I'm trying to suck an artery's worth of blood out of a tiny scrape. But keeping my focus on holding it isn't that much more difficult than keeping my focus on not killing everyone around me, though I admit that's a slightly different skill, so I eventually manage it, perform a perfected cancel command, and feel the pressure in my belly disappear. I did it. I've proven Vrithitso can be learned mages. How awful. How terrifying. I wish the instructor wasn't so congratulatory. It frightens and infuriates me. Doesn't he get what this means, how dangerous this could be? The silver lining, at least, is the fact that my soul apparently can't hold much mana at all, even by novice standards. As he watches me channel, the instructor notes that most people hold mana near the center of their soul, but I only seem to be able to keep it in the outer circumference of mine. It's abnormal, but not entirely unexpected, he tells me. After all, a non-human likely doesn't have the same soul structure as a human would. Afterwards I quickly focus on perfecting the Essential 8, a series of spells that all Templars must know how to cast before they graduate. They're fairly basic, but versatile and generally useful for survival, creating flame, creating light, creating noise, moving small objects, mana sight, drawing water from things, and 2 different kinds of basic healing spells. I can cast them all by the end of class, if very weakly. It's just memorization, which of course is my default. Everything okay, Lark? Bentley asks after class. It's super cool that you figured out how to cast spells. I'm still getting the cancel commands right. But, you don't seem very happy about it. I'll be okay, Bentley, I sigh. Thanks for asking. Instinctively, he almost reaches out to give me a reassuring pat on the shoulder, but he stops himself. Bentley's default form of affection is contact, usually hugs, but I've made it clear that touching people makes me very uncomfortable and he's doing his best to accommodate that. Contact just brings up bad memories for me. And nasty temptations. Okay, well, I don't know if I can help, but I can listen if you want to talk about it, he offers. I nod, about to supply the expected second thank you when the world decides to go and make my day that much worse. My nose catches her scent. Captain Yelizaveta is back. She's here. She's back. No, 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 no. I don't want to see her again. I don't want to know anything other than the fact that she's alive. Nothing else. Please. Naturally, of course, she's walking right towards me. I'm not sure what Captain Yelizaveta's talent is, if she even has one, but she's certainly very perceptive and never seems to have trouble finding what she wants. Here it is, then. Time to brace myself for an onslaught of pain from the inside and the out. I'm already trying to get the memory of her taste out of my mouth when she finally shows up, waving what I know must be her freshly grown arm in my direction. Trainee. She greets me with confusing cheerfulness. Hey there. The lady finally let me out of bed. Are you doing okay? You need anything? You've been stuck in the barracks without me, right? I blink, finding myself speechless. She's just acting normal? Why? What? I can't say anything, I only find myself staring at her arm. She notices, flexing the fingers as if to prove it works. Yeah, First Lady Vesuvius does fast work. So as you can see, I'm A-okay. No harm done. I ate your arm, I blurt. And I got better, Captain Yelizaveta dismisses. And technically, I fed you my arm on purpose. Figured it might help. Wait, you what? Bentley asks. You what? I ask. Are you crazy? My supposed future captain raises an incredulous eyebrow at me. Am I crazy? You're the one that walked off alone and purposefully let a woman beat you half to death. It's part of my job to keep you safe and healthy, Lark. So I did my job. Captain, I tried to kill you, I remind her, not understanding what's going on here. And I forgive you for that, Captain Yelizaveta answers frankly. You have my permission to forgive yourself, too. Not that you need it. I stare at her, dumbfounded. That's it? I ask. That's all you have to say? You could have died. I ate you. I lost control. I could have killed dozens of people if things had gone a little differently. Well, it didn't, Yelizaveta grunts. And all that took me was an arm I'd already lost once anyway. Seems like a good deal to me. So if you're sorry, don't play martyr again and get yourself injured enough to lose your head, okay? You have an important role to play, Lark. The brass isn't putting all this work in for you for no reason, understand? No, I admit. Not really. She sighs, then jerks her head towards a side hallway. All right, follow me. She leads me off into an empty side room, turning to me with an expression of uncharacteristic seriousness. Okay, I want to start things off with an apology, Lark, she tells me. I should have never left you alone with Fulvia in the first place. That was my mistake. That's not your. It is my responsibility, and my fault. I fucked up. I'm sorry. You can take or leave the apology, but it is my job to stop that kind of thing and I did fail you. Okay, I allow. Apology accepted. But what's this about a reason? Yeah, that's the next thing. This is top secret, okay? You don't have to lie to anybody about it, but if they ask you tell them you can't answer. Understand? I understand. Okay. Well, Lark, we need you because your teeth can bite through souls. And there are some very dangerous liches we're hoping you can protect the world from. Wait, I say quietly. You don't mean? Vita and ours, Yelizaveta confirms. Command wants you to eat them alive, because as far as I'm aware that's the only way we have to take them out for good. Their hope is that the things that make you a monster will be the very things that save everyone in Vulca.